doesn't really throw me. Yes, you can look at the reports. Oh, Cleveland's got 4 potential all-star players. Like, that's supposed to do something to me? I'm supposed to feel any type of way about that? I don't, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you right now, I don't. Welcome back to Full Court Heave. It's your host ShayGoon once again. We got a couple of little bits of tidbits of information we need to get through today, because there has been a report, been a couple reports, but there has been a report that the Raptors might be interested in Jordan Clarkson, and that's something we need to discuss. I'm not 100% on board with this move. I know a lot of people want to see it done. There's a lot of reasons to that, to help the bench scoring, things of that nature, but I don't know if that's something that actually needs to be done. So what I thought we'd do for today, we'll look at the trade machine with ESPN. I know everybody loves the trade machines, so we'll mess around with that. We'll see how a trade like this could actually get done. And then while we're doing that, you'll probably see why I'm not personally in favor of this trade. If you're new to the channel, you could like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're growing every day. I appreciate the love and support we've been getting. Y'all been rocking with me. I only have like 6 videos out and y'all been really rocking with me, so I appreciate the love for real. So let's start on the rumors. How about that? Let's start on the rumors. So right now we see the Raptors wanting to sign Reggie Perry. I want to talk about that really quickly. Raptors are expected to sign Reggie Perry to an Exhibit 10 contract once they can carve out a roster spot for him. The Reggie Perry thing to me doesn't mean too much, because if I'm right, I believe they could go all the way through training camp without Reggie Perry. And then when they're doing their waves, so when they go through and waive the players that they need to waive for the season, they can sign Reggie Perry briefly, waive him almost immediately, and then he would have that Exhibit 10 for the 905 and play on the 905 in that structure, in that offense. So I'm not too concerned about the Reggie Perry report. Now let's talk about this next report. As we all know, the Cleveland Cavaliers got Donovan Mitchell. How did that affect the Cavs? Cavs got better. Cavs definitely got better in my opinion. Am I worried about the Cavs? No, not really. They'll be a good team, but if you're in the Eastern Conference, you're playing good teams. That's just what it is. All the teams, top 7 teams are probably going to be really good this year. All right, and maybe like 8 and 9 will be pretty decent as well. Okay, so a team getting slightly better doesn't really throw me. Yes, you can look at the reports. Oh, Cleveland's got 4 potential all-star players. Like, that's supposed to do something to me? I'm supposed to feel any type of way about that? I don't, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you right now, I don't. Honestly, my perspective on this, the way the Raptors play with their length is so specific to their team. There isn't a team that throws out the same length as the Raptors. You can name any team. There's not a team that throws out that length. Not saying the Raptors are invincible. Not saying they're not going to lose some games this year. Not saying they're going to be a 1 seed. All I'm saying is another team getting better doesn't necessarily mean that the Raptors are being lowered in a standings or a projected standings. What works for the Cavs against majority of the teams in the league may not work against the Raptors. We saw a lot of good teams struggle with the Raptors' length. This team just functions differently. I just want to put out a little quick segment about that, since I didn't get a chance to talk about that. I was in Syracuse this weekend when I saw the Syracuse football game. Lost my voice. If you can't tell why my voice is not as crispy as it usually is, but that's okay. So Donovan Mitchell's gone. There was a report the Raptors were potentially interested in Donovan Mitchell. I believe they had some interest. Most likely what they would be having to give up would not be worth Donovan Mitchell, probably. Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson, there are some similarities there, because you're going for a boost in offensive production to your team at the expense of a player that is not known as a lockdown defender or even a good defender. Now, I don't know whose reputation is worse, if I'm being honest, between Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson. Neither of those guys are playing basketball for their defense. There's a lot, of course, there's a big difference between the players. Donovan Mitchell being an all-star the last 3 seasons. Jordan Clarkson, 6th man of the year type player going forward in his career. That's probably the avenue that you're seeing for Jordan Clarkson. Is that something that this team wants right now? They probably do. Like, they probably do. If you're looking at the bench scoring, the game plan of throwing the ball at the backboard and just rebounding and throwing it back up 8 times till we get a basket works at times, and then other times it's some of the worst basketball you can watch. Let's be honest. It would be in the same realm of when they got Lou Williams. Like, he's that caliber of scorer. He can spark plug a unit at any moment. And if you have a Jordan Clarkson, pop that into some of the lines the Raptors have defensively, you would feel like the rest of the players can cover that up. Raptors had a player last year that couldn't really play defense, and they were hoping the offense would carry That was Svi. Svi's no longer with the team. I'm not going to clap, but if you want to, you can clap. Svi's no longer with the team, and he was a defensive liability, but his offense wasn't nearly going to the level that you need to make up for his lack of effort and ability on the defensive end. Clarkson's offensive talent would actually probably mitigate his weaknesses on defense. So there's a big difference there, number one. The salary between Clarkson and Mitchell, having to make a trade work is a lot different. The value of the player you don't need. You're not mortgaging your future for Jordan Clarkson. That's just not happening. But if we look at this report, it's naming teams that had initial interest following the Gobert departure earlier this offseason. What it sounds like to me is Toronto probably called after the Gobert trade, because that was the first trade that really signaled that Utah was probably going to be going to a rebuild and selling their players. The Raptors probably already inquired about Clarkson, Bogdanovich, maybe even Rudy Gay. You know, like any of the veterans that they thought could maybe be useful, they probably already inquired about them. Let's build the trade. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Let's build a trade. Where are we at? Jordan Clarkson, $13 million. So you've got to make that up. Who you thinking the Raptors can trade for this? All right. Theoretically, Khem Birch, Malachi Flynn, that's only $8,000. If we try this trade failed. Raptors over the luxury tax threshold with this trade, and the salary exceeds. So let's start over. That $13 million, that's honestly not a horrible deal, but it does get tough to move as far as the Raptors are concerned. So Boucher can't be traded at this point. Technically, you could trade Thaddeus Young, trade Khem Birch, but do they want to give up Thaddeus Young? I don't think they really do. Let's say Khem Birch for sure. Otto Porter's not getting traded in this deal. Chuba's not getting traded in this deal. So you're looking at Khem Birch, I guess Thaddeus Young. Okay, so theoretically, this is the trade. Adding in maybe Malachi. You get another Utah Jazz player coming back Toronto's way. You add at least a pick here. Like, if this was just a trade, this does nothing for Utah. You're probably looking at a first round pick here of some sort of protection, and that'll probably get the trade done. Are you comfortable giving up Young, Birch, and Flynn and a first round pick for Jordan Clarkson? That's the question. I don't know, man. That's tricky. To me, I'd probably just play it out with the roster that you have currently. And honestly, there's going to be a bunch of other teams interested in Clarkson. So what are the odds the Jazz get a better deal than Thaddeus Young, Khem Birch, Malachi Flynn, and a draft pick? Last piece of information. The Raptors ratings for NBA 2K23, the starting five has been leaked / shared. We got Fred VanVleet at 83, Siakam at 86, Scottie Barnes goes up to an 84, and Anunoby at an 81, and Gary Trent Jr. at I want to say that's a 78. The 78 from Gary is kind of tough. I don't see any reason for his rating to be below an 80. In the grand scheme of things, I know a lot of people are definitely getting heated. You can already see the comments here. First reply to this is somebody with all caps on, getting hot. But honestly, 2K does this every year, okay? Except for like a handful of players. Majority of players go down from where their ratings were to end the previous game. They always go down, and after the first two like ratings patches, then you see players get to a level that is more realistic to their abilities. It always starts like this. Your favorite team is probably garbage in 2K in the first couple of weeks. Really, that's how it works. 2K, the teams that were in the finals, and like 4 other teams have good rating players, and those are teams that you can use competitively if you play 2K competitively like that. But if your favorite team is not one of those, top 6 teams in the NBA, then your team is probably going to be slightly unplayable until they patch it. This is what I have. I would just say don't get too worked up about it. Once the first couple of roster ratings patches come through, then we'll take a look, and then I'll start flaming 2K. I'm not going to flame 2K too early. I'm still going to buy their game within the first 2 weeks it drops. What do y'all think, man? Let me know your comments, your griefs, your struggles down in the comments down below. We have more videos coming on the way. We're getting close to preseason. We'll do preseason analysis. I'm going to really I'll get nerdy like that, bro. I don't care. We'll break it down. And then we'll use some of that information before the preseason games, I'm going to drop that video on who's going to make the roster. And then we'll use those preseason games to maybe adjust things as we go along. But that's all I got for y'all today. If you're new, like the video, hit that bell and subscribe so you know when I post. But more importantly, you have yourself a great rest of your day.